Right after the collapse of the Soviet Union, back then, it seemed to us that we would very quickly become members of the so-called civilized family of European nations, or in general, the civilized Western family. Today it turns out that there is no civilization there at all, only degradation, nothing but. But it doesn't matter. Back then it seemed like that was a good thing, and that we would become full-fledged members, an equal part of that family. Nothing of the sort happened. You see what the issue is? Nothing of the sort. We did not become any kind of equal part of that family. No, on the contrary. Russia continued to be pressured from all sides, and moreover, more and more strongly. Practically everything was decided with regard to Russia from a position of strength. They patted us on the back, invited us to various events, but when it came to their interests regarding Russia, the West pushed them through by forceful means, including military ones. How else? Support for separatism and terrorism. It was exactly demonstrated and carried out by military means. Terrorists were supplied with weapons, money, and given political and informational support across the board. Economic restrictions were imposed as well. That is also a form of forceful pressure, and quite a significant one at that. I remember very well myself when we said, well, how can we not, we are obliged to protect our country from terrorism. But they tell us, no, you can do what you want, but this is not allowed. That is not allowed. This is forbidden. Otherwise, you won't get any loans. Otherwise, you won't get any extensions or preferential treatment. We are not demanding anything special from anyone. We are simply insisting on the fulfillment of the promises made to us. It was publicly stated that there would be no NATO expansion to the east. But they didn't care. One wave of expansion followed another. We are not demanding anything special. I repeat once again, we insist on the fulfillment of the promises made to us. It wasn't us. In 2022, they started the war. It is these destructive forces. In Ukraine, with the support of the West, in fact, the West itself unleashed this war. We are only trying to end it, to stop it. At first, we tried to do this by peaceful means, through negotiations in Minsk, as you remember. But then we were forced to include a military component because we realized we were being deceived. Everyone assumed that in a short period of time, they thought they would destroy and break up Russia. And the subservient European lackeys immediately and actively joined in this significant work of the previous American administration, eagerly hoping to greatly profit from the unfortunate collapse of our beloved country, to get back something that had been lost in previous historical periods, and to try to take revenge. As has now become obvious to everyone, all these attempts and all these destructive plans regarding Russia have completely failed. Russia has regained its status of full sovereignty. Russia has become a sovereign country in every sense of the word. We have reclaimed this status. This remarkable achievement was realized in very large and significant part thanks to your invaluable and dedicated involvement, and also the crucial and unwavering involvement of the brave armed forces. Our formidable nuclear shield is now considerably more advanced and technologically modern than the nuclear capabilities possessed by any other official nuclear power, ensuring our continued security and strategic advantage. How modern is it? Over 80%. 92% is the level of modernization of our nuclear forces. No other country in the world, not even a nuclear power, has anything like this. We are developing new means of strike, new weapons. No one else in the world has this, and it won't appear anywhere else anytime soon. I've mentioned them, we know about this. Both Avangard and Burevestnik, our troops are completely different now. And they are combat ready. There is no other army like this in the world. It simply doesn't exist. Yes, the armed forces of Ukraine are going through the crucible of military action. But unfortunately for them, the Ukrainian statehood is falling apart. You can see it by the golden toilets. The armed forces are also degrading. The growing number of deserters is evidence of this. In Ukraine alone, over 100,000 criminal cases have been opened for desertion. And the total number of deserters is in the hundreds of thousands. This is a clear sign of degradation. Our armed forces, on the other hand, are on the rise. We, as before, are ready to conduct negotiations and are prepared to resolve all the problems that have arisen in recent years by peaceful means. The administration of the United States of America is demonstrating such readiness, and we are engaged in dialogue with them. I hope the same will happen with Europe. I want to thank you for your combat work in 2025, and to express my confidence, my hope, and my certainty that all the tasks facing our country will be accomplished. Thank you very much.
Today we see that the geopolitical situation in the world remains tense. And in a number of regions it is becoming downright critical. NATO countries are actively building up and modernizing their offensive forces, creating and deploying new types of weapons, including in outer space. At the same time, people in Europe are being instilled with fears about an inevitable confrontation with Russia. They say we need to prepare for a major war. Various figures who either used to hold or still hold responsible positions seem to have simply forgotten about their responsibility. They are guided by some fleeting personal or group political interests, but not by the interests of their own peoples. And they keep ramping up the level of hysteria. I've said it many times already. It's a lie, nonsense, just nonsense. About some imaginary Russian threat to European countries. But this is being done quite deliberately. The truth is that Russia, even in the most difficult circumstances, always, as they say, to the very end, as long as there was even the slightest chance, has sought to find diplomatic solutions to disagreements and conflicts. And the responsibility for the fact that these chances were not fully used lies with those who believed that they could speak to us in the language of force. Even today, we advocate for building mutually beneficial and equal cooperation with the United States and European countries for the creation of a unified security system throughout the entire Eurasian region. We welcome the progress that has emerged in the dialogue with the new American administration. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the current leadership of most European countries. At the same time, we are fully aware that in any international situation, our armed forces remain the key guarantor of Russia's sovereignty and independence, its security, and the future of strategic parity. And as I have already said, we need to systematically work on strengthening them. What would I like to emphasize here in particular? What tasks should we set in the field of military development, including taking into account the dynamics of the situation on the line of contact? First, the goals of the special military operation will, without a doubt, be achieved. We would have preferred to do this and eliminate the root causes of the conflict through diplomacy. If, however, the opposing country and its foreign backers refuse to engage in substantive dialogue, Russia will achieve the liberation of its historical lands by military means. The task of creating and expanding a security buffer zone will also be pursued consistently. Second, the work on modernizing the armed forces must continue at a high pace and with high quality, primarily within the framework of the new state armament program for 2027 to 2036, which is currently being developed. At the same time, as I have said repeatedly, the experience of the special military operation, new trends in combat tactics, and rapidly developing military technologies must be taken into account as much as possible. Among the key areas of the state program are the air and missile defense system, electronic warfare control systems, and unmanned complexes in all environments. And of course, a priority for us is the improvement of strategic nuclear forces. As before, they will continue to play a primary role in deterring an aggressor and maintaining the balance of power in the world. Today, Russia celebrates the Day of the Strategic Missile Forces. Taking this opportunity, I would like to congratulate the veterans, active personnel, and civilian staff of the Strategic Missile Forces on their professional holiday and wish you success and all the very best. Thank you. Third, the Russian army must continue to remain at the forefront of technological progress. This means that robotics, information technologies, and new materials must be introduced into the troops at an accelerated pace, and the use of artificial intelligence technologies in control systems and autonomous combat complexes must be expanded. Fourth, it is important to equip the orbital group with next-generation spacecraft. As a result, the troops should receive high-speed and secure communication channels. The quality of their provision with intelligence information and accurate navigation data will improve. Next, in May of this year, the strategy for the development of the Navy until 2050 was approved, which defines its future structure. Clear and timely implementation of the strategy's provisions will allow the Navy to be modernized and increase its effectiveness in carrying out combat missions in all theaters of military operations. And finally, it is necessary to continue actively developing military and military technical cooperation with foreign countries, with our allies and partners, and to improve the system of collective security and the Union state. Overall, work in this area is a significant factor in strengthening regional and international security. Comrades, one of the state's priorities is to expand social guarantees for participants in the special military operation and their families, as well as for all our servicemen. In the past year, the Ministry of Defense, together with the state fund Defenders of the Fatherland, has done much to improve the quality of medical care, assistance to wounded soldiers, to address issues of their rehabilitation and employment, to ensure timely payments, and to implement other, including additional measures of social support for the families, children, and parents of fallen servicemen. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that there is still more work to be done here. Right now, during the preparation for the direct line, it is clear that many questions are being received on these topics. But together with the leadership of the Ministry of Defense, we will certainly return to this matter. I would especially like to highlight the heroic work of military doctors and medical personnel who sometimes accomplish the impossible to save our soldiers and after treatment return them to duty. A unique, truly unique experience has been gained in providing medical and psychological assistance to servicemen with injuries, wounds, and illnesses related to combat operations. Such experience should be implemented not only in the activities of military medical institutions, but also in civilian health care, and this should be enshrined at the legislative level. Undoubtedly, work on indexing the monetary allowance of servicemen must continue, and the pace of providing them with permanent and service housing should not slow down. Every defender of the motherland must be certain that the state will provide all the necessary social support to them and their loved ones. And in conclusion, I would like to once again thank the soldiers and officers who are now on the front lines, all participants in the special military operation, for their heroism and selflessness. I wish the leadership, all personnel and the civilian staff of the Ministry of Defense new achievements in their service to the motherland and to our people. I am confident that you will continue to reliably stand guard over the sovereignty and security of Russia. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Dear Andrei Rimovich, dear comrades. Today, as part of the expanded board of the Ministry of Defense, we will discuss the results of our work over the past period. We will determine the priority tasks for the development of the armed forces and the strengthening of the country's defense capability. I would like to note that the outgoing year has been an important stage in accomplishing the objectives of the special military operation. The Russian army has gained and firmly holds the strategic initiative along the entire front line. Our troops are confidently advancing and grinding down the enemy, its groupings and reserves. This includes the so-called elite units and formations that have undergone training in Western military centers and are equipped with modern foreign equipment and weaponry. This year, more than 300 settlements have already been liberated, including major cities that the enemy had turned into fortified strongholds filled with long-term fortification structures. They did not hold out, but turned out to be powerless in the face of the courage and military skill of our soldiers. The positions taken, the bridgeheads established over the past months, and of course the unique tactical and operational experience gained in battles breaking through the enemy's deep defenses, all make it possible to increase the pace of the offensive in strategically important directions. We are proud of the feats of our soldiers and officers fighting on the front lines, of everyone who is defending Russia and the safety of our citizens. I would like to acknowledge our own and our North Korean comrades in arms. By decision of Comrade Chairman of the State Affairs Commission of the DPRK, Kim Jong-un, they were sent to take part in the liberation of the Kursk region. And shoulder to shoulder with Russian fighters, they bravely and valiantly fought against the enemy. They took part in the large-scale and extremely difficult work of demining the liberated land of Kursk. It is our duty to always remember all our fallen comrades in arms, to support their families, their children, their parents. The state will do everything necessary for this. I ask you to honor the memory of those who died for the motherland. A moment of silence. Distinguished members of the board, we know that behind the Kiev regime stands the potential of the member countries of the world's largest military political bloc, NATO. Large-scale military assistance is being provided continuously. Advisors, instructors, and mercenaries are being sent, and intelligence data is being shared. In such difficult conditions, our troops are demonstrating high combat capability and training. The capabilities of the Russian army are constantly evolving. Work to strengthen the armed forces has been ongoing continuously in recent years. Continuously. I mean the improvement of their combat composition and qualitative enhancements in the military command system, in operational and combat training. And of course, increasing the efficiency of the defense industry, which has rapidly restructured many production and technological processes and is producing in-demand products in ever-growing volumes. Thanks to the efficient work of the defense industrial complex, the Army and Navy are being equipped with modern weapons and equipment on time. Missile systems are being delivered to the ground forces. And artillery systems with high-precision strike capabilities, loitering munitions, various types of drones, and robotics. The aerospace forces are receiving upgraded missiles and aerial bombs with guided planning and correction modules capable of operating effectively in complex electronic warfare environments. Well, many people here know how much the effectiveness of our operations has increased recently. Sometimes it exceeds 80%. I want to thank those who are involved in this work. This is real help, truly real. This year, as part of the Navy, have been reinforced with new submarines, including the strategic missile carrier Knyaz Pozharsky, as well as 19 surface ships and vessels. Successful tests have been conducted of the strategic Burevestnik cruise missiles with unlimited range and the unmanned underwater vehicle Poseidon. Thanks to the use of nuclear power plants, these systems will remain unique and one of a kind for a long time to come. They will ensure strategic security parity and secure Russia's global position for decades to come. We will continue to work on these systems. We will keep refining, perfecting, and improving them, but they already exist. By the end of the year, a medium-range missile system equipped with the hypersonic missile Oreshnik will also be put on combat duty. Last November, it was used in combat for the first time. The high level of training of units and formations, as well as their ability to tackle the most complex tasks, is confirmed during regularly conducted exercises, including with the participation of our foreign allies and partners, to whom we are passing on the experience gained during the special military operation. I would also like to highlight the good results demonstrated during the joint strategic exercise Zapad 2025. All tasks related to the protection and security of the Union state against potential external aggression were successfully completed.